Hello, everyone. So, if you're new here, I'm a 3D artist. I've worked on 3D art professionally for a couple years. My last big project was Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I was an environment artist on there, and I did a couple shots. Their campsite environment that was done by me. So if you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Hopefully, maybe you remember it, maybe you don't. But yes, that was a great time. Anyways, about 4 or 5 days ago, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm going to learn how to draw. And so I loaded up GIMP, which I've used occasionally for various photo editing tasks. Nothing artsy. I loaded up GIMP. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to use this in the proper way. So I started drawing a couple like shaded balls and such, just to see if I could do basic lighting, maybe a little bit of basic surface detailing. That went pretty well. That went pretty well, and ended up fairly happy with those projects. And then I moved on from that to draw like a little mountain, which went less well. That did not. I was not super happy with that. And then I tried to draw a couple trees. Limited success. Then this morning, I decided I'd draw this little trunk of an eastern red cedar tree because I like how they look. And I was like, maybe this is achievable for me. Maybe this is something I could do decently at. Um, and yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience so far and some of the things that I'm kind of re-experiencing from my start in 3D art. The first thing is that I just feel a lot less confident with starting projects, which I think is fairly common amongst newer artists, right? And this has been, yeah, just a major flashback into my earlier art days, right? Just not really being familiar with the workflows and being very intimidated by the people that were already experts. And it takes a little bit of energy to push through, right? So it's been interesting to grapple with that so far. And yeah, it does, I don't want to say, yeah, it does kind of suck a little bit to know that like you're probably years away from creating anything on par with the people who inspire you, right? Um, but you do have to keep pushing forward because art is fundamentally a journey, right? And it's gonna take a long time to get good at, but you're gonna find many rewarding moments along that journey, right? So I am gonna keep pushing forward with drawing and such, just because I do think it's pretty fun, and I am very eager to see if I can actually become good at this, right? Um, and ultimately, the reason why I wanted to learn this is because I think that this could help a lot with my 3D workflow, learning how to block out shots in a different way, right? So maybe like doing 2D for, yeah, shot blockouts. Also, a much better understanding of lighting, values, perspective, and such. All these things that can't really hurt, right? So all of that stuff is like tangible benefits from learning 2D that I want to experience. But I also do think that this could be a fun new way of getting some ideas onto a canvas, right? 3D is lovely and I love it a lot, but it is for sure a lot more cumbersome than 2D. Now, there are benefits and there are reasons why I love doing 3D. There are reasons why 3D is in some ways faster than 2D. But man, the it is very nice to not have to worry about some of the 3D stuff when you are doing 2D art. Like you can create geometry in 2D, like complex geometry, a lot easier, I think. Um, a lot quicker, not easier. It's probably a lot harder to do in 2D. because you need to have a good understanding of perspective and stuff. But you can create it once you do know how to do it, you can create a little bit more efficiently, I think. Because 3D, they're just, it's a very precise set of tools. So you have to interact with it with intent and precision and care and all that fun stuff, which ends up taking a lot longer. Um, yeah, so on this drawing, I just finished the background and then some basic line art, and then trying to just block in some of the values. So I just create a little patch of values there that I could use. But yeah, so I wanted to create this video partially just to document where I started. Because I want to look at this, I want to look back at this in a couple months, in a couple years, maybe a decade if I stick with this, and I want to be like, that's where I started, right? That's where this all started. I'm hoping I stick with it. Future Sam, if you are watching this, stick with 2D art. I must, I'm talking directly to you. You must stick with 2D art. Uh, because past Sam wants you to, because past Sam thinks that's cool. Um, all right, that out of the way. Uh, yeah, so I want to keep this for a little bit of documentation purposes, but hopefully, I mean, this can show you a little bit of the struggles that even someone who has a lot of art experience can go through when learning something so radically different than what they're used to, right? And even within 3D, this happens, right? Like if I'm an environment artist, um, I already have some skill in like hard surface modeling, but I don't have much skill in like sculpting, right? It's like character modeling. And if I were to do that, I'd run into probably some of the same issues. Probably not the same uh, number of issues or number of hurdles because it is a little bit closer to what I usually do, but it'd still be a bit of a challenge, right? Um, yeah. So I'm just testing a couple brushes here, and this is of course completely normal. Um, Switching mediums and stuff is not supposed to be easy, and just because you're having a bit of a tough time getting started does not mean you are not of solid artistic metal. Everybody, without exception, has difficulties starting. I certainly, as I mentioned before, right, I do 3D art professionally. When I started that, I was just completely clueless as to what to do. I was very intimidated by the workflows and stuff. Very much the same experience that I uh, am having now, right? But it does give me some hope, right, that I'll be able to work through it in the same way that I did before, right? Just time, a little bit of time, yeah, time, effort, and yeah, practice, and also yeah, fair amount of problem solving and stuff along the way, right? So very cool stuff. But yeah, art does not come easy to anyone. Um, Talent is a thing. I know people like to say talent doesn't exist, but at least in 3D, some fields require a certain type of thinking, which some people are just honestly better suited to, right? And that's where something like talent could be is necessary. And yeah, so there's yeah no shame in having a bit of a rocky start to art, right? Even those of us that have been doing this for a while at a fairly high level, and I'm realizing now I kind of sound like oh, I am such a professional artist. Uh, no, I mean I have done work professionally, but no, I'm not like a veteran, but I am fairly confident in my skills, right? All I'm trying to say is like it, there is yeah there's no one's just magically good at this. even though, as I mentioned before, talent does still exist. So I'm just trying to smooth out some of the values I blocked out here, um, before adding surface details. Now I'm adding, yeah, just trying to test some surface details. I tried one method of detailing that I just didn't like. I didn't think it worked, so I was just gonna be too tedious as well. So I'm just trying to see if I can create something that looks decent, but it's not going to take forever because I have very limited patience for long projects, which is also another reason why I'm interested in doing the 2D stuff. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but like 3D takes a long time. Um, Very few people have managed to find workflows that will get them to where they want to go very quickly, um, in 3D. But in 2D, I was like talking to someone the other day, because they were showing, or I saw one of their artworks. It was of a space marine from Warhammer 40K. I was like, super cool. And I was like, yo, bro, how long did this take you? It was like, oh, that took a little while. That took like a couple hours. I was like, hours? Because if I did the same thing in 3D, it would be weeks probably, right? Uh, so that's something I'm looking forward to, just being able to iterate on projects a little bit faster, and also concept things out. Like that's one of the main reasons why I'm interested in learning this medium, is because I want to uh, get better. Like one of my struggles in 3D is blocking things out and like having solid composition and such. And I think this could help a lot with that. And this will also improve on my sense of like lighting and values. Because of course, because since you have to do it manually, you have to be a little bit more intentional about it. So I'm excited to see improvements there too. So all of these make 2D very worthwhile to learn, even if, as mentioned before, it can be a little bit disheartening to step back from something that you're already skilled at, uh, to start from square one. Not quite square zero, because yeah, some things inevitably will transfer over, or inevitably do transfer over, but square one. It takes a little bit of effort to learn, right? Um, but yeah, something that is really cool about being newer at art, and that I unfortunately I think goes is taken for granted way too often, is that you learn things and you level up your skills so much faster. Uh, like for instance, within hours or days, right? You can learn something new. You can get a lot better at something, uh, and that's something that just doesn't really exist, when you're a little bit more experienced. Because yeah, of course you can learn minor skills and such, but a lot of the easy skills um, to learn, you've already learned, right? So like I'll have problems that I've been sitting on for months, right? That probably I won't be able to solve for many more months, right? And it's a lot harder to see improvement, like very tangible improvement in my with my current skills in 3D. But I mean, in the last 4 days, I've seen like I certainly feel a lot more comfortable uh, doing this 2D stuff, right? Like I've been branching out into a little bit different techniques. I've been trying to stay away from tutorials and stuff. I know that they can be helpful, but I prefer to on YouTube, in the art tutorial space. There's a lot of like kind of gamifying stuff, right? And I've talked about this before, how tutorials can 100% get you stuck because you're stuck learning or using the tricks that you learn from tutorials, and when the tutorials dry up, um, it's hard to learn new tricks, right? And you'll also get, like, if you rely on doing projects that are like from tutorials, right? Like it's going to be very hard to do your own original projects. This is a huge problem. I'm not making this up, right? Just a huge problem in the 3D art space. People, particularly like I was gonna say particularly Blender, but it's honestly a lot of programs. Because there's such an upfront cost to learning how to interact with the programs, there's a massive demand for tutorials and such, and those tutorials are intentionally quite uh, eye-catchy, right? Because they need to get views, and they'll generally walk you through like the entire process of creating a project. And that's great and all until you become too reliant on that, and it's very hard to move forth on your own original projects because you've gotten stuck with tutorials. Um, yeah, you've gotten stuck needing tutorials to start on your projects and to execute them. So that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit hesitant to like look up art tutorials. I do love watching art videos though, but generally not for like a pedagogical purpose. Mainly for entertainment because I love watching very skilled people do very skilled things. It is so fun. But anyways, we're starting to wrap up this. I know I could have probably detailed this for many more hours, but honestly, I kind of wanted to cut my losses at this point and move on because I've been sitting for about 3 hours at that point. Um, but yeah, uh, I really appreciate it if you watched it to this point. If you are experienced as someone like who draws and you want to give me pointers and stuff or lead me in the right direction, feel free to. I am very accepting of uh, advice and such here, especially because I'm just so new to it. Um, if you want to join my Discord, the link is in the description. It's a great community full of great people, and I post a lot of stuff there, um, including some like free assets and such. So that would be lovely if you joined, as well as liking, commenting, subscribing, all that other fun stuff. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, fellas, I really appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on. I'm quite excited to see where I can go with this 2D skill set. I'm, yeah, eagerly awaiting the days when I'm a lot more confident in this and I can do some pretty cool stuff. So this is the final product that we got. Let me know what you think. I think the background actually looks pretty good. I like what I did with the leaves there. But obviously it's shrouded in bokeh, so uh, not a very monumental achievement. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any thoughts on what I talked about and such, I would love to hear them. Uh, all right, that was like 2 minutes too long for an outro. Uh, I will see you guys again later. Bye.